Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
'Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting from CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam territory of the University of beautiful and very soggy British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Adameisenhammer.
And we're back with another show. And I know I've said this before, and it still ends up at being 2.5 or 3 hours. But this is going to be a shorter show this week, unless on Monday there's a ton of breaking news and I create another part. We're only doing 3 parts. It's been, I guess, a quietish first week back after the new year. Things are going to pick up because the Whitecaps are back at training this week. So we'll have audio to bring you from that, and that'll be in next week's show. We'll talk a little bit about the Canadian men's national team because Camp Poutine kicks off, or already has kicked off actually, because it started on the 8th of January. Yep. We'll talk Vancouver FC as well in part 3 because there's some new signings to talk about there. And we will talk Whitecaps news of the week because there has been some this past week. Not enough to make this our usual 2.5, 3 hour podcast. So I'm aiming for an hour and a half. It'll be a relief for everyone. I did get a message from someone this week who's just discovered the podcast and they'd kind of been put off because of the length of the podcast. And I do get that because I don't know if I saw a 3 hour podcast, if I would listen to them. But we have had a lot of folk that tell us that they listen to it over the course of the week. And I do that with some of the hour and a half, 2 hour podcasts that I listen to as well, which I'm way behind on because I haven't been driving around much at all, really, for the past month. I've been keeping weird hours as well. And Whitecaps being back at training, albeit for a few days before going off to Marbella, will help me get back into the swing of things and back listening to some stuff. I also want to apologise right from the off for people that have emailed or donated and I haven't replied to you. I was telling Zach before we recorded, in our main AFTN account, there's over 3,000 unread emails in that because that account is used not just for you guys' messages, but every single football club mailing list that I'm on, which is a lot. So a lot of them, I read the headline and then don't read the thing because it's like from FC Dallas or something like that. So I need to get round to that. And then because of it, I'm planning, it's not a New Year's resolution because I don't do those, but I'm going to try and be better at replying to those. So thank you to everyone that has donated. We probably will have an extra podcast coming out at the end of this week. And I have some exciting stuff planned for the extra podcast this year in the build up to the World Cup, but haven't fully told Zach about that yet. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I've had a good week. I was watching the FA Cup, which you spoiled on Friday.
Well, I didn't tell you.
But I knew exactly why you'd messaged.
Oh.
It's like I didn't think you were watching the Port Vale MK Dons game.
I'm sorry.
You just went FA Cup, 3 exclamation marks. And I was like, Wrexham must have won then. When you sent that, I didn't tell you, but I was actually watching the Wrexham game. And it was 2-0 to Wrexham at that point. So I was pretty confident
Oh.
Wrexham were going through. Didn't see it going the way it went. But I mean, it's not been a great weekend for cup shocks. That was technically a cup shock. Wrexham beating a Premier League side, but they've probably got a bigger budget than than Nottingham Forest and everything that's going on at Notts Forest. As much as I still can't get fully on the Wrexham bandwagon, it was nice to see a cup shock. I did love Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace, though. The
Uh,
biggest cup shock in FA Cup history is how it's been built.
can I gotta disagree with you. I didn't like it. I I've said before, I think on the program, you and I have talked about this before a bunch, but like the Crystal Palace is one of the teams in England that I actually don't mind as much. And this predates, Vancouver FC being a club called the Eagles, right? And the fact that they both have groups attached to them that are called the Fanatics.
Mm.
Um, and I do actually really appreciate was it Holmesdale Fanatics?
Yeah,
Uh,
I like how Crystal Palace have played as well the last couple of years. Like I
yes.
was cheering them on in the
And
FA Cup final.
they've had over these last number of years, they've had significant like Bundesliga connections to their club from Oliver Glasner's coach to I think he's at Leeds or somewhere, but Chris Richards from Bayern. Bayern took Michael Elise from Crystal Palace. Who else have they had, Kirk? Oh, Daichi Kamada is another guy who Glasner loved from his time at Frankfurt, so brought him to Sellers Park, and yeah, I, I again, I don't like, I don't like love them or like whatever, but like they're probably one of the clubs. If I was going to choose to go to a match in England, I would probably try to choose to go to a game at Sellers Park just to take that
Interesting.
in. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was the whole magic of the cup. A team in the
Oh,
sixth
yeah, it was.
tier.
It was magical. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was. But I
No,
wish it was another side.
yeah, no sixth tier sides ever beaten a Premier League team. And not only any Premier League team, but the reigning cup champions. Like for Macclesfield as well, they're a Phoenix club because they went out of
Yes,
business 5, 6
yes.
years ago. I have seen Macclesfield Town, the predecessors of Macclesfield FC, play. I went to see them play Ebbsfleet 2013-ish, when I was in London, and that game was a midweek game. I was like, oh, I'm going to go up to Ebbsfleet and see that. And one of my lasting memories from it was the Macclesfield fans chant, which I thought was terrible, which was, oh, Mackie, 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 Macclesfield, which you
Uh,
did hear a lot in the game against Crystal Palace. But like the fact that it's a Phoenix club, that's special. The fact that one of their players died in a car crash just before Christmas as well, just made it all the more special. And there's footage from after the game of his parents in the dressing room, and it's like it's hard not to get teary-eyed watching them because it's just so emotional. Just a young guy in his 20 or 21, Ethan McLeod, was driving home from a game mid-December and was killed in a car crash.
mhm.
So for them to do this, I mean, it was special. The draw is going to be on Monday, and no one's going to want to be going there because they have an artificial pitch, which is not
Yes.
allowed in the Football League, but you can still use it in the FA Cup. Because when Sutton went up, Sutton had an artificial pitch, and it made them so much money, but they had to rip it all up when they got promoted. I know views on artificial pitches, but in the fourth tier, even the third tier, let them have it. The Scottish Premier has artificial pitches for clubs. I don't see why something that's making so much money for community teams, you force them to rip it up. Obviously, things should be played in grass, but for these teams, it's the lifeblood of it. So yeah, I was watching lots of FA Cup games, was watching A League, Auckland, Wellington Phoenix. Great Wellington Phoenix game the other night as well, incidentally. And you took in your first live game of the year as well on Friday night.
Oh yeah, it was good times. VFSL. It was the Langley United hosting Vancouver FC U19s. It was good times. I think it was 4-1. Yeah, it was 4-1. Lucas Friend got at least two goals, including a penalty, one that was a lot nicer than just a penalty. No, yeah, it was good times.
Do you have a chant for him? You've got a friend in me.
There's not a lot of chanting that typically happens at the U19s. I mean,
No,
depends if
change
Mark,
days from the Whitecaps U18 games.
yeah, if Martin is refereeing, then sometimes there's more like call and response with
Yes. Well, see, I haven't taken in a VMSL game yet this year, and I should. Haven't seen any games yet in 2026. What's wrong with me? I'm going to try and keep a better tally this year of the games that I've seen like you did last year, because I enjoyed you doing game number 1, game number 60, and
footballogy, man. You got it.
oh well, I was talking about footology on the East Fife podcast just to
Nice.
get the guys to do that because they were trying to keep track of what games they've been at and stuff. I've got all my old football programs, which is me knowing what games I was at. But I have kind of come to the conclusion that I need to get rid of them because they're taking up a lot of room. They're just sitting in a box. I'm never going to look at them again.
Well,
But how do I get rid of them in Canada? Because who's going to want them?
oh, you can have one of your friends post it over there and
Well,
send it
I,
over
I
over.
did think if I go over premium economy with a second suitcase,
Yeah.
full of programs, and then sell them to a program shop or
But
something.
that's also how you actually update your footballogy, probably. That's what I did. And this
Yeah, I'll
Kirk,
go through them and then update it. I might
Kirk-
throw out my away programs because it's like, eh.
yeah, but you need those for the dates
Oh
for
yeah, but once I've like logged them, is what I'm
because
saying.
yeah, because Kirk actually found I did some updating over the holiday season because Kirk found in my office a box that I thought actually a couple boxes that I thought were of a lot of my significant match tickets, which I thought were in an old briefcase I had somewhere else. So yeah, so I did a bunch of inputting over the holidays, including
Yeah, I miss good old fashioned match tickets.
including overtaking Ian Hume or McHugh, sorry, Ian McHugh.
See, I told the guys on the East Fife show about it because I'm hoping they'll then add all the games and then I don't have to enter them. I can just do add. But I'm a lot older than them, so I do have to still because I've got to go back to 1984.
Yeah.
That was my first professional game. I went and watched junior football from the late 70s.
There's one game, my first game that's in footballogy is Canada Germany Varsity Stadium, June 8th or 9th, 1994. But I've been to one other game before that, and I can't tell you what it is right now because it's going to come up later in the show or shortly in the show as we go
Oh,
into as we go into
in fact, it's going to be coming up pretty much next
yeah,
then, if
yes,
it's what I'm thinking we're talking about. Last
yeah.
thing I want to mention in the intro, it's the most magical time of the year, Zach. The Hot Chocolate Festival kicks off this coming weekend. Hot
Oh,
Chocolate Boy will be returning, as
nice.
will my diabetes. It's okay. I'm getting my annual physical. I say annual, it's turning into like 15, 16 months because the doctor's so busy. But it's coming up in March, so that's going to be good. It's going to be right after the Hot Chocolate Festival. When they draw my blood for the test, it's going to be like, it's very brown.
I will not be participating in Hot Chocolate Festival this year, but I'm hoping to take the family to at least one of them this year.
Pie Hole have some nice ones this year.
The pie hole is just a great place to go no matter when.
Yeah.
It is. I am in a season again of not eating the carbs, and for the first time ever in my life, I kept that over the Christmas season, which was crazy. But I'm trying to battle the beast that is obesity because I have some things this summer that I really would like to be more slender for and be able to be more active for and
Well,
um
yeah, but maybe we'll talk about our naked AFTN calendar shoot later in the year.
oh
If anyone
that's
wants to be in that, just I was going to say send your pictures along. Maybe don't.
that's horrible, Michael. That's a terrible thing that you've just probably made yeah people think about. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people getting your picture, going into grok,
Grok.
all that stuff that was in the news this week, the seedy side of it.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking
Oh,
about. Grok is the AI on X.
yes. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely horrible. It was a big story in the UK and stuff, and it's like, but it'll be good for our calendar. Or if you want to pose, we've got so many photographers that will be happy to
Oh my
take those photos.
goodness.
Tom will be listening to this now, just salivating at the thought.
This is so terrible.
Let us know if you want to see an AFTN.
No, no, no one does, Michael.
Well,
You should
what
see
was
the, you
that?
should
So
see the,
calendar girls. This
you
would be
should
like
see,
calendar boys.
you should see the look on Kirk's face right now.
Oh, is he excited? Does he want to be in it? Is he if
No,
he is he of age? I don't think we can.
he's not of age and he's disgusted.
Well, let us know if you want to see it.
No,
If you
no
want to be in
one,
it,
no one, Michael.
we can do it on our OnlyFans page.
This should this should be part of um your final episode.
The, the outtake show. Well, I told you we've got a short show. I'm trying to pad it out
That's
by
true.
just taking it down to pure smut.
There
Okay,
you
let's
go.
let's bring it back to football.
Football.
And I mentioned last week we kicked off our new section. For the first 26 shows of the year, we're going to be doing a Canadian soccer A to Z in the build up to the World Cup. Last week was A. We had Atiba Hutchison from Zach, and Atiba was robbed from me as our two
No,
A entries.
Atiba was onside.
Oh, Atiba was on side.
But he
was
also
also
was
robbed
robbed.
as well, yeah. I just added that. So we're on to the letter B this week. Surprise, surprise. And I get to go first. And I have gone for the hotbed, somehow, of Canadian soccer, Brampton, Ontario.
Yeah.
It is, and we've spoken about this so many times on this show. It's crazy for such a small town. I guess
Suburb.
it is.
It's
Suburb?
almost like a far suburb of Toronto, almost.
Yeah. But to produce so much world class football and talent. Before I had a list of players that I thought were from Brampton, and then I did confirm it, and then I did a few more. So I went into Wiki, and it comes up with 56 soccer players
Oh wow.
from Brampton, Ontario, and it's like there's going to be way more as well. But just to mention some of them,
Yeah.
Tajon Buchanan, another
Yep.
B as well, Promise David,
Hmm.
the Neil Henry,
Yep.
Junior Hoylett, Atiba Hutchinson, Kyle Larin, Jaden Nelson, Jonathan Osorio.
Yeah.
Just some of the current and recent Canadian men's national team internationals, all from Brampton, Ontario. Levonte Johnson, that was at the Whitecaps as well, another Brampton boy. He was on that list. So many others.
Here's something I don't know. Is it the same on the women's side? Are there many female
Oh,
players?
you know, that's a very interesting point because everyone on this list is just a male player. Ah,
Should I Google that?
well, let's have a quick Google. Again, this will help pad out the show. Women's soccer players from Brampton, Ontario. Because if there isn't, that is a very interesting. Oh yes, Kadisha Buchanan.
Yeah. I knew there was some.
Ashley Lawrence is from the area. Christabel Oduro has Brampton ties. And that just seems to be the only three that's coming up. Interesting, though. I'm sure there are others. So anyone listening to this, if you know of female players from Brampton, please do let us know. But I mean, I've spoken to players on the show from Brampton, and I've asked them all, what is it about Brampton? What is in the water there? And no one knows why there's so many from the area. But I feel for me, that's my entry for B. It has to be Brampton. It is the current and recent hotbed for soccer in Canada. What are you bringing to the table for B?
For B, Mike, I have gone with can it have like double meaning? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Well, you know I love my double entendres.
There you go. I'm going with Blizzard.
Oh, nice. Now,
I
when I think of Blizzard, I think of you eating ice cream. But
that's great. That's good. No,
you
that's
know, it
very
does have
good.
double meaning.
So yeah, obviously the Toronto Blizzard of the old CSL,
Hmm.
and they were also in NSL, right?
Yeah.
or
NASL.
NASL,
Yes.
NASL. The first game I went to at least one game when I was in elementary school in Toronto, and I think it was a Blizzard game, but I don't remember when. I don't remember the date, so that does not appear in my footballogy list. Um, but at the same time, I was also thinking of some games that have happened in Blizzard. So obviously, thinking of the CPL match from this past year was kind of like in the middle of a blizzard, or
Yes.
games that have
Oh, that was your double meaning. I thought you were going to go Calgary Blizzard.
no, 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 no.
Oh, because when you said Blizzard, Calgary was the one that came into my head.
Oh, no, no. No, Calgary would be for me like Mustangs or Cavs,
Oh.
but um uh or Dinos. No, yeah, there's been some matches in kind of blizzardy type weather. The CPL finals one, the Ice Teca games. I know it wasn't super snowy during the matches that I remember. Those two games against Mexico and Costa Rica. And then for me, another one that stands out is a game that wasn't a game, which was um, the Voyageurs Cup match that got canceled. The Whitecaps away to FC Edmonton in like May 6th in, I don't know, 20 something or other, 2016 or something, where Chad Rempel, follower of the show, and Massimo and I had made it all the way to the stadium before we then, well, we made it virtually all the way to Edmonton, I think, before we knew the game was maybe going to be called off. But yeah, anyways, Blizzard, it's a part of who we are,
I
and
love that.
big part of our history. And Toronto Blizzard, obviously, I can't speak to, their incredible history, but they do have yeah, they played a significant role in growing the game in Canada,
Mm.
especially in that era back in
Well,
the
the Blizzard came into being in 1978
yeah,
because it had started off as Toronto Metros, and then it was
yes,
Metros Croatia, and then it became the Blizzard in 78. They played in the NASL as the Blizzard until 1984 when the league went out of business. But then they came back from 1986 to 1993, the Toronto Blizzard, in the Canadian, I was going to say Premier League, but Canadian Soccer League. And yeah, they were finalists in the first season, never won it, but they reached the final twice. That was when the 86ers were absolutely dominant. And interesting as well, because 86 ties in with our C86 music, but 40th anniversary of the 86ers, 40th anniversary of the CSL as well this year. And rumours are the Whitecaps are going to have an 86ers kit
yes.
this year. So I wonder, maybe we'll get a Blizzard Toronto kit or something as
Yeah,
a homage to Toronto soccer.
but they also won the Soccer Bowl, right, in the 70s?
Toronto Blizzard.
Yeah.
Well, the Metro Croatia won it.
Oh, right. Okay. A precursor.
I don't think the Blizzard won it. Let me just double check that.
I was looking over there, like Graham
They
Leggett.
lost the 84 and the 83 championships.
I'm looking on a page, a wiki page right now that says Championships, North American League Soccer Bowl, 1976.
Yeah, 1976 was when they were still Metros
Metro,
Croatia.
yeah.
Yeah.
It says here again. This goes back to the earlier incarnations, but Graham Leggett was their coach from 71 to 72. I didn't know that.
Oh,
And then some of their former players are like names like Brian Budd, Sven
what?
Haberman,
A double B.
Sam Liberduzzi, Colin Miller. Who else do I know here? Bruce Wilson, Phil Parks. Who
Yeah, he
else?
went. He went there after the Whitecaps. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned Brian Budd because Brian Budd was. I was going to give a hat tip to two other players for this section, and one of them was Brian Budd, a UBC Thunderbird that joined the Whitecaps in their inaugural season and stayed for 5 years with the Whitecaps as well. Was capped for Canada. Also wanted to give a B shout out to Milan Borjan, the most capped goalkeeper for the Canadian men's national team. 80 caps. And I mean, he has officially retired from international football, hasn't he?
I don't know if he has, but yeah, he's not going to be called again. You're right to shut that out because he did give so much, and he was the sweatpant thing and the connection. He had good connection with the fans. It's unfortunate though. He will be, as much as he made massive contributions and helped the program grow and all that kind of stuff. It's his final thing that he'll be remembered for really is that horrible play against Morocco where he essentially cost Canada their first World Cup point. I mean, is one way to look at it at least. And so as much as I have a huge amount of respect for him and appreciation for him, it's when you go out like that, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah. But I mean, for everything that he's achieved in the game and the most capped goalkeeper, for me, definitely deserves a nod. Let us know who your B nominations or just mentions that you want to have for Canadian soccer history. We'll be back next week with the letter C. That'll kick off part one. We'll save Hot Chocolate Boy for later in the show next week instead of our usual start. I'm going to just try and do one a week this year. I did 9 or 10 last year, and I felt that was a bit much.
Oh, was it? Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I do the Blizzard. I'm pretty sure I saw a Blizzard game in the CSL. That would have been the right time. And I was looking at they played at Varsity, Lamport, and Centennial. I'm thinking it might have been Lamport. It wouldn't have been Varsity. I think it would have been Lamport, maybe Centennial, but more likely Lamport, I think.
Well, I mean, Canadian soccer has such a rich history, which is what we want to delve into in this segment. I've got a cracker next week for C as well, so get your thinking hats on for that. For the rest of this part, though, since we've been talking about Canadian soccer, let's talk about the Canadian men's national team again. Don't have a lot of World Cup news to talk about. There hasn't been any more drama. The state of the world is getting interesting at the moment as to, will there be a World Cup at this rate? I'm sure there will be. Will Canada get given some more games? Probably not. They probably should, though. But the road to 2026, as it's been billed by Canadian soccer, is now officially underway. Camp Poutine, the unofficial name for it, is underway down in California, Irvine, California, where you've been to take in some matches.
Yeah.
So a 20-player roster was announced by Jesse Marsh, not March, for this preparatory camp. It's on from January the 8th to the 18th, and there's going to be one game played as well against Guatemala at BMO Stadium in LA on January 17th. The camp is just to have a look at some of the domestic players because it's obviously out with a FIFA window, so you're relying on clubs agreeing to let your players come. And for a preparatory camp in January, especially for the European-based teams that are in cup football action, as we talked about, they're not going to let the players go. So it's basically North American-based players who are currently out of season or about to return to pre-season. They'll be training. There'll be that one game against Guatemala. 3 Whitecaps in the squad: Ralph Priso, Jeevan Badwal, and Ryan Alumi. So just to talk about them, first of all, Zach, big question about Ralph Priso.
Yeah.
What is he now? Are they going to look at him as a centre-back in the squad? Should he be a defensive midfielder? I mean, Axel's basically said, as far as he's concerned, he's now a centre-back.
I think he will get a look at center back. I heard recently that a number of the more recent center backs for Canada actually have something in common with Ralph Priso, and that is that they are former center midfielders.
Well, Joe Waterman, who's in the squad,
yes,
he was a defensive midfielder turned centre-back.
He's one of the examples, yeah. And the sense was that Jesse Marsh likes players like that because they're maybe more aggressive in the tackle or more aggressive.
Good with the ball at their feet.
Yeah, and better playing the ball for sure. Yeah, so I think he will get a look, whether it's only in their kind of training or will be against Guatemala. Will be really, really interesting. But yeah, I think it's great to see 3 players like this from the Whitecaps who aren't like the typical ones necessarily, or the ones who are always called in, or in Ryan Alumi's case.
That's so interesting.
But because if he were to play against Guatemala, he'd have to file. Would he have to file the one-time switch?
Well, this is a friendly, so it's not a competitive game.
But I still think I don't know if you can just go back and forth anymore.
Played under 23 with Morocco.
Yeah,
That
I
was
don't
in
think,
friendlies.
yeah, but I don't think you can just,
Well, we'll check that out.
yeah. I know you're only committed to, like, you're stuck with the one once you, but if you played youth level others, you can file a one-time switch.
Whereas, of
So,
course, this isn't youth.
yeah,
So, I mean, he's always said, like when I've spoken to him, he said he's keeping his options open.
which makes sense.
And like obviously Illumi and Badwall, they're players for the future. Unless Ryan Illumi goes on an amazing tear to start the MLS season, then you're looking at him for the Olympic squad. You're looking at him for the 2030 World Cup, for future Gold Cups. Same with Jeevan Badwall as well. But I think it's great that these guys are getting a chance to be in this mix. From those in the squad, and we'll include, I think, Ralph Priso here as well, is that who do you see realistically making the World Cup squad from this Camp Poutine squad? I mean, Richie Laryea is in this squad, so I mean, obviously he's a definite.
Yeah.
Probably Joel Waterman and Matthew Chonier are already in that World Cup squad, would you say?
Well, Schwinier, yeah, potentially. I mean, I feel like I'm worried about him. I mean, I think his fortunes are about to change at LAFC with Mark being in charge.
Hmm.
But yeah, if that doesn't improve, then I really worry for him and his ability to be selected in the squad. But in principle, yeah, I would agree with you on Schwinier. Waterman, I mean, I like Waterman, so yeah, I hope he's there.
Him getting the move away from Montreal as well, I think helps him.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it literally has helped him, his play and his performance, and
Yeah.
I think being under a different type of spotlight has really been good for
Yep,
him.
different environment, just different everything. I mean, you've got Jaden Nelson, who we've spoken about on the show, so we don't need to delve too much into him.
Yeah.
I know he's on the bubble for you.
Yeah.
He's more in the squad than on the bubble for me, but again, very important few months coming up down in Austin now. Jonathan Osorio,
You're Brampton boy.
yeah, I'd imagine he's in the squad.
I I think so. I I yeah. I think so. He's one I struggle with a little bit because he to me he fits best in the like that midfield two or three for Canada, depending on how they're actually working it. In those central roles, but he's more on that offensive side of things,
Hmm.
where I think those players need to be a little bit better defensively than he is.
Is he a
So
player, do you feel, that needs to start strong with TFC to really cement it?
I think form for all the players is pretty crucial. I feel like for Jesse Marsh, he knows already if Osorio is going to be in his squad or not. I feel like he's almost in this squad because it's a Camp Poutine, it's MLS side, it's not virtually no Europeans. Uh, People from virtually from no European clubs, although there's at least one that I can think of off the top of my head, and we'll talk about one other in a minute. But I think he's there more maybe also as a leadership or an existing dude to help help bring continuity to the culture and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, like I mean, he's definitely not a starter anymore. Uh,
Oh no.
but I don't see. We've talked about this before. I probably want off the bench someone who's a better destroyer or someone with more pace.
Yeah.
You cannot deny his ability to change a game. You cannot deny his ability to be creative or even to be finish, or even to finish, sorry. The only thing I wouldn't want him to do at the World Cup is to take a penalty.
There's also, as well, as we've talked about, we don't know if it's a 23-man squad, if it's going to be a
Yes.
26-man
Or
squad.
30.
Yeah. And he could be one of the guys that's
Yeah.
in that 21 to 26
Yeah.
slot, which could change. And centre backs is another position with that. Because we've spoken about Joel Waterman, who I think will get in the squad. Now, Kamal Miller has spoken about he wants to show that he can be in this squad. Now you've got Ralph Priso, who from nowhere could be in this squad as a centre back. We spoke last week about the centre back options who we thought was going to be starting. You mentioned Alfie Jones.
Yeah, and then hadn't realized he had this injury or whatever.
Yeah, he'll be back, but I mean,
Not helpful.
no, because another player like Schaffelberg as well, who is for me, if we look at some players that in this squad had a chance to impress, maybe. So Schaffelberg was one of them that is definitely on the bubble. Will he be in? Will he not? He's got this move to LAFC now. This was an important move if he can cement that. This is an important squad to show Jesse Marsh again, remind him what he can do. And we know how good he can be. But then LAFC announced he's withdrawn
Yeah.
from the squad
Yeah.
because he's got to have surgery for a degenerative condition, and he's going to miss about 8 weeks.
That's really concerning.
And like, if he was still at Nashville, you'd be like, well, they know him, they know how he'll
Mhm.
fit back in. It's more an easy integration. But now he's got to come back
And fight
to a
his way
new
in.
team and
Mhm.
force his way into that mix on a very good team.
I'm not, you're right. I'm not so worried about that as much as I am. How degenerative is this, and what does that exactly
Yeah,
mean
I
in the
mean, that's
States?
such a broad, vague term.
Yeah. And the missing 2 months and whatever. Yeah, and how he gets up to speed and match fit and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, I think it's going to be interesting for him to see. There was times last year where it felt like LAFC went with just Sun and Boanga up top. I think Mark is more likely to kind of be more 4-3-3-ish or 4-2-3-1-ish. And I think there's a chance that if Shaft returns well and there's no issues and all that kind of stuff, he could play a really great role for LAFC on the right side of a front three with Boanga on the other side and Sun through the middle, or even the three of them interchanging. Because they all have pace, and they all are a threat, obviously at goal, and they all have high level of creativity. I think that would be really, really dangerous. But again, being behind 2 months on match fitness and missing the
Yeah.
preseason and all that kind of stuff, you make a valid point about integrating to a new side. I think that's an issue, but I just think it's not as huge as an issue as we might think, especially because he'll know some of the people there. I
Hmm.
mean, Chouanier included, but yeah.
I think this camp, the one player that stands out for me that's got a great chance to kind of stake a claim, James Pantemis. I've wanted him called in and more involved in the squad, especially when he was getting the start over Max. Now, you know that Crepeau and St. Clair have two of those spots locked down. I still think the third goalkeeping spot's up for grabs.
I think you're right. I think part of the reason why Pantemis wasn't called in was just because it's really hard to take two keepers away from one team.
Well, that's Portland's fault.
No, I know. But I think if you're the national team coach and you're trying to build
Yeah.
relationships with clubs, that's really difficult. Now it's not as difficult because obviously Max has moved to Orlando and it's easier to get James into the side. I don't disagree with you that Pantemis has that opportunity. I still think though that this third spot is going to go to one of these young guys that they brought in that's playing overseas. So I really think that that's where that's going to land. I might be wrong, and for James that would be great. I see them using that spot as looking further down the road, and not that Pantemis is old at all,
Hmm.
but he's not as young as I think some of these other guys they've been looking at.
I guess like the last player I kind of want to mention, and there's been a lot of buzz about him on social media this week, Marcelo Flores from Tigres.
Yeah.
Getting him involved in the Canadian setup, just scored a couple of goals as well this weekend for Tigres. An exciting prospect, hasn't been getting a lot of looks at Tigres. You do wonder if he's the kind of player that like the Whitecaps could make a bid for and try and strengthen. And we'll talk a bit about that in the next part. But I mean, what do you make of him?
Yeah, I know it's a player that's been kind of long on the list of trying to get in. I think this is great for him to be in camp, and we'll see what comes of it. Lots of upside. I think with some of these, what do we call them, dual internationals or players with who can play for multiple countries because of their heritage or birthplace or where they've lived or whatever. I think we used to kind of just there almost seems the desire to like try and cap any single one you could. Whereas I think now Canada's at a place where the level of play is at a higher level. And so it's not just anyone will get cap tied or try and cap tie anyone in the hopes that they're just as good or better than what we have, or to grow the depths pool or whatever, or the pool of players. But yeah, I hope that this is one that can really produce something really meaningful for Canada, and I think this camp will be helpful both for Jesse Marsh and his team to look at him close up, and I will also give him an opportunity just to see more where the Canada setup is at, which, in our estimation, would probably be it's better than it's ever been.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to check something that we talked about. So, if you play in a friendly, you are not cap tied.
No, not cap tied, but I think if you played for a team, don't you still have to file a change? Like
No.
you can just play
So,
for all the teams you want.
friendlies are fine. Um, if you play in a competitive game,
Hmm.
so for example, Flores played for he's been capped 3 times for Mexico, and one of them was in the Nations League. So
Mm,
that officially captized him to Mexico. But
right.
if you've played 3 or less games, then you can put in a one-time switch. But friendlies don't count. So when he played a friendly for Mexico, it says here he was still eligible to switch to Canada or England. But then as soon as he played in that game against Suriname in the Nations League, he'd have to file the one-time switch.
So now, exactly, to play
Yeah.
against
So,
Guatemala,
but
he would
Ryan
have to
Ryan
file.
Alumi would be fine.
Yeah, because the youth level doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. So it's going to be interesting stuff in this camp. See where it goes. I think it's also nice as well that it's not just on the playing side; it's on the coaching side. And there's some
Mhm.
coaches that's going to get some great experience here. Daniil Henry,
Yeah.
Simcoe County Rovers sporting director, is going to be there. Local guy Andrew Peat, who is the head coach of Norvan in the VMSL, as well as Norvan's youth sides as well. He's involved in the technical staff in this as well. So it's a great opportunity for Andrew. He's done great work out in the North Shore, really deserves this. And friend of the show, Tommy Wheeldon Jr., brought in as well, which I just, you love to see that.
It shows a lot of character and leadership from Jesse Marsh to do this, right? Like Tommy, it's public knowledge. Tommy is someone who applied for that job. So Jesse is confident in his position in his role where he can bring in a guy who applied for the job to be a part of things, to get experience with the team, to bring his own wisdom, to learn all that kind of stuff. I think it's great.
Hmm.
I think it's really awesome. Mike, there's one player I want to talk to you about that's
Okay.
not in the squad, and I didn't let you know this ahead of time, so this will probably, I guess, be your first thoughts on this, but and maybe you know something that I don't, or have seen something that I haven't seen. In this squad, there's not a lot of, I mean, Ryan Alumi is one, but there's not a lot of like out and out strikers.
Hmm.
And you have Matthew DeBrienne, who's in from, I don't know how to pronounce it, GAIS from Sweden, Geis from Sweden. Do we know why Sam Salter's not in this squad? Like he seems like for this
Oh.
kind of squad, where you're looking at domestic players, in MLS, in CPL, it seems like he would have been a player that kind of could have or should have been had a look at or deserved a look at based on what he did in the CPL last year, including earning a move and of course, setting records in CPL as well.
Yeah, because he's joining guys in this month.
So maybe it's integration. Well, no, it's Swedish league, right? So
Yeah, so I mean, they won't be playing just now, but that's a very good point. You would have thought that would have been the
yeah,
ideal person. Maybe he's picked
or
up a knock.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe he has a knock that we don't know about, or I just wonder if it's yeah, to do with him needing to get settled in Sweden, or
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it doesn't say anything about any injury or whatever. But if anyone knows, let us know. We'll bring you some feedback on the camp as well in the next show. But that is it for the Canadian men's national team chat, the international chat. We're going to turn our attention to the domestic game for the next couple of parts. And we're going to be talking Whitecaps, news of the week next. after we hear this episode's song from our Artists of the Month.
Hi, I'm Tristan Blackmon, and this is the AFTN Soccer Show.
Walking down the King's Road, I see so many faces. They come from many places. They come down for the day. They walk around together and try and look trendy. I think it's a shame that they all look the same. Here they come, la 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 la. La 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 la, the part-time punks. Here they come. La 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 la. La 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 la, the part-time punks. Then they go to Rough Trade, to buy Susie and the Banshees. They heard John Peel play it just the other night. They like to buy the O-level single. I read about Seymour, but they're not pressed in red, so they buy the lurkers instead. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. Here they come, la 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 la.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's our Artists of the Month for January. Post-punk band, television personalities with a song that kind of got them the most attention from their whole long career, Part-Time Punks. You can find that on their Some Kind of Happening singles compilation, which is the band's singles from 1978 to 1989. They're a cult London post-punk band formed in 1977 because when we got our Spotify Wrapped, it had a list of the top 5 artists act that people listened to. Taylor Swift was number 1. Drake was in there. Sabrina Carpenter as well. So naturally I had to go with a post-punk band from 1977 because I know our listenership and what they want to hear.
Oh my.
Television personalities still going strong today after their 12 studio albums. This is the opening track to the band's second release, the 4-track EP Where's Bill Grundy Now? We played the title track of that last week. That was released in November 1978. The song was re-released in 1980 and kind of gave the band a minor hit as well. And it's probably the song that the band's most remembered for, which is kind of ironic because they don't like it. It was kind of for like a parody piss take. And then it's the one that's most associated with them. One of their single compilations is also called Part-Time Punks. But we'll be back with more from television personalities next week. Let's talk about some football personalities now. Big personalities. We're going to turn our attention to the Whitecaps news of the week. Now, the Whitecaps return to training this coming week. Players report on Tuesday, Wednesday. They've got medicals on Wednesday and Thursday before they fly off to Marbella on Friday. They'll be in Spain until February 10th, fly back for a little bit, and then they'll continue pre-season down in Costa Rica ahead of the CONCACAF Champions Cup game down there as well. So initially when they get to Spain, there'll be some double training sessions. And then if it's anything like the last couple of years, they'll be having the training sessions for the first week or so. Then they'll play maybe 3-4 matches down in Marbella. A lot of teams down there waiting for confirmation as to who they will be playing. But the big news this week was something that I mentioned last week in the show, Zach. It's kind of a throwaway comment when we're talking about Ali Ahmed's trade to Norwich. I said just before we started recording, someone had messaged me, an American journalist, and said, I'm hearing that Miami are making a play for Tristan Blackmon.
Yeah.
So we talked about that on the show. We speculated it, like for a player like Tristan, if this was to come to fruition, it would be hard for him to turn down. You get the chance to play with Messi. You're almost guaranteed that you're going to win some trophies somehow. And in a World Cup year, when you're still trying to maybe force your way into that squad, you're playing on the team that all the eyes are on in Major League Soccer. So, I mean, it would have been a good move. From a Whitecaps perspective, it would have been some decent money coming in. And then you're looking at, well, what were you going to do with that money? There's a lot of centre-back depth if everyone's healthy. So we delved into all of that. And we said, we'll see what happens. There's been a few clubs that had made bids for Tristan, either player trades, GAM trades, cash trades. So there was a lot of interest in him, along with the likes of Sebastian Berhalter, Brian White, Emmanuel Sabi. All these players, as you would expect, attracting interest because they've had a good year. But then the story really developed really quickly, and there was a crazy hour where it looked like he was away, and then the Whitecaps are like, yeah, he's not going anywhere. So well, let's break it down a little bit. So Miami, my understanding was they'd made a bid for Tristan back in December after the MLS Cup. But then they'd come back with a bigger bid, which is what I'd been tipped off on and we spoke about on last week's show. And I didn't have what the figures were. And it was mentioned that it was $2.5 million. Now, whether there's been a third bid as well of $3 million, but $3 million is the figure that has been put out there that Miami have made the bid for. So all of this kind of came out on January 7th, so last Tuesday. And it was reported in the Miami Herald by respected journalist Michelle Kaufman. Now, Michelle Kaufman has got Miami's ear. Mm-hmm. She gets a lot of scoops from Miami. So her article was talking about them signing a Villa from Portland Timbers as a done deal, and basically indicated that Tristan Blackmon going to Miami was a done deal. I think she mentioned $2.5 million, and she didn't say sources. She didn't say league sources. She said club sources had said that the deal was about to be finalised. So she's got that directly from the club.
Yeah.
So when you read that, and you read it from a journalist like Michelle, you take it for gospel, that that's happening. Not so fast, because it turns out that it's not, and we'll get into that aspect of it in a sec. So, obviously, a lot of us were then getting in touch with Axel as to, well, what's happening with this? You said before Christmas, we're not wanting to move players on. Some players will, like Ali, like Jaden, for various reasons, but we want to strengthen, we're not wanting to move players on. You said, rightly, every club is basically a selling club. We talked about if the offer's right, it's hard to turn that down. Mm-hmm. So the offer appears to have been $3 million, which you think for a player, that's not bad. There'll be add-ons, incentives as well. But then it came to light that $3 million was going to get paid in instalments, which you feel is the only way that Miami can get a deal like this over the line and stay within the salary cap.
Yeah.
So from a Whitecaps point of view, you're losing your best defender of the year, but you can't just go out and replace him because you're not getting all the money up front. Why would you take that deal, which the Whitecaps haven't?
Yeah, there's so much going on here. It feels like Miami's just come off this season of finals and semifinals and collecting a trophy, and they're just trying to collect more trophies. They've got their goalkeeper of the year. They're trying to get their defender of the year. And you can't blame them. Tristan Blackmon has been great, not just this last year, but for a few years now. That side makes sense. The $3 million doesn't sound terrible, especially when I forget how many years he has left on his contract. But when you think about what Ali
2027 he was extended to.
Yeah. So when you think about
And he's
what,
29 just now. He'll be
yeah.
30 this year.
So when you think about what Ali just went for,
Hmm.
3 million, I assume USD,
Yep.
doesn't sound terrible for him. The problem is it's not. I mean, it's a few things. It's one, like Axel has said all along. It's about not wanting to let their best player, not losing their best players. It's also about now having a smaller window because of, making the final and all that kind of stuff. Smaller window to replace those type of players, and they're dealing or going to be dealing with a whole new set of expectations from the fan base, from the community here in Vancouver because of how well 2025 went. And I I don't question. I don't. I wouldn't critique the moves they've made so far. I think the Jaden Nelson one seems not great for their depth, but seems like a good kind of good for them in terms of they're trying to do what's best for the player.
Yep.
And I mean they got the money out of it as well from the deal, but really it shows they're willing to work with players and not hold them captive and help them achieve their goals, even for something as like playing in a World Cup. So that was good. Ali also made sense,
Hmm.
but with both of them going, now you're like, okay, what is the actual plan? What is the depth? What is to use a pigskin term, what does the depth chart really look like in all these different positions? And how
Yes.
many how many how many players are on multiple spots on the depth chart? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
And
if you look at the wingers,
yes.
like on the left, you've got Gold, Kenji Cabrera as well. He can also play through the middle as a cam. On the right, you've really only got Emmanuel Sabi right now.
Yeah.
So there's now a gap on the right for sure. I do wonder, like, if they're going to keep Giuseppe Bovalina, I
Mm,
think they can turn him into like a right winger and
yeah.
and look at that, or maybe they'll look to bring in another right winger, another
Well, that's
prospect as well.
the thing. Like they haven't brought in anyone, right? Other than
No,
young player, like
they were linked with the player that we talked about, Uande, but it looks like he's going to stay in Europe. There was some interest there, but yeah, I mean,
so
we
yeah,
got a lot of additions in February last year,
yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be the same again.
So if you lose Blackman and Ranko's not back till whatever April or May or something,
Yeah,
like and Halbuni is also still not,
he's out till probably the end of February, but they didn't take his option up anyway.
yeah, and so
But you'd
he's not,
imagine they would have brought him back if Blackman had gone.
yeah. So as much as there's depth in the overall squad, it feels like who's fit and available. If you lose Blackman, it feels like that's a lot more brittle at
Yeah,
center
because
back
it's top
then.
level as well.
Yeah,
It's not just you've lost your best defender, you've lost the defender of the year.
yeah,
And the guy that was challenging him maybe for that title is out injured
yeah.
until May. So then you're looking at a guy
Ralph.
that hasn't played in MLS yet, or a guy that got
Yeah,
fleeting minutes at the end of the MLS Cup final, or a defensive midfielder turned centre back.
yeah.
Or
Because I
you
think,
take your right back or left back in Matias Laborda and put him in
yeah.
the middle.
Which I guess, yeah, we did talk about that. I think Laborda and Priso wouldn't be the worst starting
No,
pair.
but you
But
lose something then with Matty not being on the wing,
yes.
which I've loved him out on the
Yeah.
left.
So it just yeah, I feel that overall depth chart is hurt by some, or is potentially going to be hurt by some of this, again, depending
Hmm.
on what other moves they make. But I also feel, yeah, just the expectations of the fan base, I think, are we should be building, and we should not sell anyone, but we should probably be able to hang on to a few more. Like these three are gone. I feel like for the fan base, that feels like too many. And maybe I'm
Yes.
wrong,
No, yeah,
but
I think you're spot on, but there's also another element in this as well, which is Thomas Mueller. So much of the Whitecaps, the other element is Thomas Mueller. I can't imagine Thomas Mueller would be not on the phone to Axel going, "What's happening? You've let our best defender go. You've let two really talented wingers go. I've come here to win trophies.
mm,
Why are you weakening the team?" Now, I don't know if that's the kind of person that Mueller is, if he's got Axel's ear like that, I would imagine a conversation like that would be had. I would also imagine that Axel has said to Thomas when they're sorting out taking up the option, look, we're going to be more competitive than we were this year. We are out to win trophies for you. Because he's won trophies his whole career. And he's said from the start he's here to win trophies.
Yeah, and that is obviously where part of our discussion is incomplete, right? Because we're only dealing with these losses or potential losses. We don't know what they're also trying to do on the other side, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
they might have
but
said,
they have to strengthen. And
yes.
they definitely have to strengthen now.
How do you, okay, in this moment, obviously we're, whatever, a month or so away or whatever, it's 4 to 6 weeks away from Cartago and then Cartago home and away. The squad where it is right now, do you have any concerns about them getting past those games? Because I don't at the moment.
Not at all.
But next round.
What I'm looking at is the start to this MLS season.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, as I've spoken about, 9 of the first 10 games are at home. If you make BC Place a fortress, even if you win 8 of those 9, you've got 24 points on the board.
Yeah.
To start the season, which is incredible.
Have you told Yes where you expect 8 of 9 wins?
I will be telling him that this week at training, yes. I'm expecting 9 out of 9, but I'll give him a little bit of leeway. 8 wins and a draw. But I am expecting a strong start. And I'm sure they all are, because then it's going to get tough on the road, but we have shown that we're a good road team. So they will bring additions in, and I'm pretty sure there'll be trialists, if not new additions, right away when they get to Spain. We know from the last couple of years how well Axel, Quinn Thompson and the scouting team have been at identifying needs, getting those needs filled. I don't have any qualms going into the MLS season right now on the squad as a whole. And I think they're competitive to start the season. But they're not better than they were last year. But you only kind of need to have to be better than you were last year when you get in the real business end of everything.
Yeah.
And you've got until mid-April for the transfer window to shut and stuff as well. So,
but like you said last year, one of the refreshing things is most of the business was done in February. And that, I mean, I can't remember every single season, but I know in the first decade or so of MLS, that was not typically the case. It was done in April.
Even if you look at the big Eric Hasley signing, he joined so close to the start of the season.
I remember. It was, what you call it? It was the Cascadia Summit where we first heard that news.
Yes. Gone are the days of Christmas Day announcements of Octavio Rivero.
That was that was a different one. Yeah,
I did like that. It was a Christmas Day gift. And I know a lot of fans like throw it back at them because it didn't work out. But it's like, it was a nice thing to do.
I think he's doing better now.
He is actually. I looked a couple of weeks back because someone had mentioned about him.
Well, I saw on his Instagram, it was him celebrating what would look like a goal. So
no, he seems to have done well. But I mean, they're going to strengthen. And it is all quiet on the Western Front just now from them, but don't panic. Players are going to come in. Defensively, I think we're quite well set, and especially if Blackmon is not going anywhere. Now, a lot of folk asked, has Blackmon been pushing for this move? No, he hasn't.
It's an interesting question.
He's happy here.
Yeah.
But this is the next thing I want to talk about in this.
But okay. We've talked about this over the years with players in general. Tristan Blackmon's a quality professional footballer. In this situation, at this moment, if someone asks you, would you rather go to Miami? I think he's professional enough to say, I'm really happy in Vancouver. Because
he will be getting asked that.
Well, but number one,
Har's going to be asking him that.
Yeah, but number one, he doesn't know how this is going to play out. So why would you say, I prefer to be elsewhere in MLS?
Yeah.
So you can't really, I don't think you can really take these answers. You have to take these answers at this moment in a situation like this with a grain of salt, because the player has to remain professional. They have to they must know and understand that there is a possibility that they're not going to move, and they need to continue to interact with the fan base and engage with them. And
absolutely. But before, like, even behind the scenes, It's like there's never been word that he was pushing that he wanted out.
Yeah. But again, there never would be. I mean, sorry, if you're a player and the player's people and you're doing it right, you can never let those kinds of things
True.
out.
That is true.
Unless you get into those awkward situations, and the Whitecaps have had a few over the years where the player is doing all they can to force the hand of the club, right?
Yes. Now, that then brings us to the way that this all came out. So I mentioned it was in the Miami Herald,
Mm-hmm.
and that was on Tuesday. Now, the fact that I'd heard about it 2 days before shows that and it's from a respected person as well that I trusted.
Do you trusted or still trust?
Oh, still trust because
Okay.
there's obviously it's true.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Miami have wanted this out there.
Yes. Miami is trying to unsettle the player or the situation for sure.
Yes. So moving into speculation station, let's just say allegedly all this, blah, blah, blah. But it's hard not to look at this situation and think, yeah, we want this player. Whitecaps don't look like they're going to be giving us this player. No one says no to us usually. Let's just force the hand a little bit by putting it out there and settle the player. Maybe make the player say, oh, look, I would love this move. This is everything for me. It can cement my World Cup. You gave Jaden his move so that he can get into the World Cup squad. This would help me get into the World Cup squad, etc., etc. Or just unsettle him and, well, why are you not selling me? This is a good deal. Why can't I go? I don't know that Tristan's the kind of guy that gets unsettled like that as well, because a part of Tristan that you might not know as listeners is, and we've touched on it on the show before, he doesn't like the media spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you speak to Tristan one-on-one, as we've had chats, other folks had chats, he's a really good interview. He's a bit like Jesper, and he's got quite a dry sense of humour, and I love that. But speak to him one-on-one, he's a great person. He doesn't like the media spotlight. He doesn't like the scrums. He doesn't like to be thrown out there regularly. You go to a club like Miami, you're one of the few English speakers, for one thing, you're getting a lot more media attention.
Yeah, but
it comes with the territory, though, if you're Defender of the Year.
But we also talked about how their training is in Spanish, and I would imagine a lot of their media is in Spanish.
He speaks Spanish.
Yeah. So, and also, as much as you are the Defender of the Year, I think there are other people in the squad who are going to be requested by media far more than you, even if they don't all do that much media.
Yeah, but if you're the English-speaking media that don't speak Spanish, you need the guys that speak English.
Yeah, then you're just like, talking to the Canadian guy over there.
Yeah, Dane's going to be doing so much interviews. But it's hard not to look at this as Miami were stirring the shit and just trying to unsettle him and force this deal to go through.
Yeah.
It looks like it's off the table, but never say never, and especially in Miami. Because, let's look at Axel's statement first of all. So the statement he gave to the media was, as previously communicated, since the end of last season, several clubs from both domestic and international markets have contacted us to express interest in our players. We view this interest as a positive confirmation of the quality and appeal of our team. However, we have neither actively sought nor do we intend to seek the sale of any additional players. On the contrary, our clear objective is to keep the current group together and further strengthen it in order to compete with a strong and competitive team again next season. Therefore, we firmly reject reports suggesting that we are close to completing the transfer of any of our players. The situation is, in fact, the exact opposite. And he then went further when speaking to Manuel Veth at Transfer Market to reveal that Miami had offered instalments. So, I mean, one of the questions then is, if they come back with either an increased offer and or we'll give you it in a lump sum, does that then become hard to turn down? I just don't think Miami can make it work, though, salary cap-wise. Maybe they have to give a player up. But is it a player that would interest the Whitecaps in that regard?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks dead in the water, but you never know.
Yeah, and I mean, also, Michael, this is happening what the first, second week of January, right? So
Hmm.
there's lots of time for this to move in that direction.
Yeah,
I guess it wouldn't be advantageous for Miami for him to be cup tied in the CONCACAF Champions Cup either, right? That would
that's
be
true. Yeah,
tough.
if they still want him, it's going to have to get done before that game. I don't
Um,
think it's going to go ahead,
I
but
don't, I don't think this is the last we've heard of it. But
it has died down. So they've decided to not go, let's put everything in the public route at least.
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I think it feels, I said to some people, I was talking to some people about this, and I feel one of the criticisms over the last, whatever it is, 2.5, 3, 4 decades, or yeah, 2.5, 3 decades, is that it feels like Miami's almost doing kind of what Bayern often does in Germany. You're the top team and you collect the top players from the league because everyone wants to play for you. There's so many positives, blah, blah, blah. So you always take the top players from around the league to, number one, strengthen yourself,
Hmm.
but at the same time, you're also weakening your opponents.
Well, that's exactly what Celtic and Rangers have done in Scotland for
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And so so it's a kind of normative power club move within a league, and it'll be interesting to see if this is something they can get across the line, so to speak, and if it is or if it is something that Axel and the Whitecaps can withstand this bombardment of transfer offers and amounts of cash for their top players. And I wonder if this is also maybe making Axel be proactive on the side of looking at replacements, right?
Yeah, but they've so many centre backs at the moment there. But
Yeah, but I don't think they have. I don't. I still, as much as they could go with Priso and Laborda, which I would say would be the best two, dependent on Hoopa
you've
and
also got Sean Lowe as well.
Sean Lowe, although there's concerns over his space, right?
Yeah, he's a stay-at-home centre back, whereas Tristan's your guy that's in the box scoring dramatic goals.
Yeah.
So
I,
they are like polar opposites in that regard.
as much as you're not wrong when you say there's depth and there's options at center back, I don't know that any of the options are an actual Blackman slash Ranko replacement.
Yeah. The thing with Miami though is like if I genuinely, although it's Miami and it's like LAFC years ago, it's like I don't know that they can make it work unless they start to move players out because they've just given Portland 2 million to bring in David Ayala, who I believe is going to still be on an under 22 initiative thing there as well. So I
But in
mean,
MLS is like where there's a will, there's a way.
yeah, things can get made work, just like the Thomas Mueller deal and everything as well. I mean, I
Mhm.
hope it's dead, and I'm sure Tristan's going to get badgered with lots of questions this week when training gets underway, but we'll see how it goes. Just to touch on an Ali, since we spoke about Ali's transfer last week, he wasn't part of Norwich's squad today for their FA Cup game against Walsall, and it was a blowout win for Norwich. They put 5 goals up, and Philippe Clement had said that because he hasn't played since December, he's not match fit. He's not at the pace of the game. I kind of feel that was an ideal game. You're playing a lower league club in the FA Cup. You were 3 goals up, I think, by half time. You could have given him a few minutes at the end. So he's still waiting to make his debut there. So we'll keep an alley watch as well as to when that happens. Once he has made his debut, because I was going to reach out to him to get him on the show and chat about everything, but I want to wait until he's experienced the game. And ideally a home game at Carrow Road as well, just to get his thoughts on that. So we'll wait a bit. But the last little bit of Whitecaps news just to talk about this week is another departure, this time on the coaching side. And it's one that I knew was in the works, but I couldn't really say anything about it. And it's Whitecaps FC2 head coach Ricardo Clark has moved on. So towards like the last couple of training sessions before the MLS Cup, everyone else was inside. I was outside watching stuff, and Rico came up, and I built a good relationship up with Rico the last couple of years in charge of WFC2. Spoke to him after a lot of the game. So we were just chatting away, just shooting the shit. And I said, what about you? It's like, do you feel you've gone as far as you can with the team? And he said, well, I've had discussions with Axel. They'd love to keep me here, but I feel I might need a new challenge. But nothing was definite at that point. But from talking to him, it did feel that everything was pointing that he was going to move on. And I told you about it, that there's going to be a WFC2 vacancy probably in 2026. So he was going to be moving on to be the head coach of Tacoma Defiance, so just Seattle's MLS Next Pro team. But then Andy Rose moved on from the Sounders to become MDS's assistant in LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going to Tacoma Defiance, Ricardo Clark is now the assistant coach at Seattle Sounders on MLS first team. Great landing spot for him.
Yeah, Whitecaps continue just to make a pathway for people to give better jobs in Seattle.
Yeah. He'll learn a lot though as well. I know. But he'll learn a lot. He's going to have a great coach that he's learning under.
Exactly. I think Brian Schmetzer is a great football person who I've said on the show many times I have a lot of respect for. As much as I've wanted his side to lose more often than not, I have a lot of respect for him and how he views the game and his role in it and all that kind of stuff. And you're right, for Ricardo Clark, this will be another really good learning chapter in his career that for him, hopefully one day, sees him take the step to become a MLS head coach himself. And for Andy Rose, it's another opportunity to get into another environment and to learn from someone else that he knows well and respects, and be in a different club that runs things differently and all that kind of stuff. So I guess congrats to both of them, and wishing all the best for both of them.
Like when I was having a chat with Rico, we talked about like his son Mateo, who's part of WFC2, had just graduated high school, so that then wasn't as pressing a concern. But his daughter is still finishing up at school, so it's like, where do you move? What's the curriculum going to be like? So I mean, I don't know what's happening family wise, but maybe the family will stay here. And he's still in the Pacific Northwest, and he can come and visit, and it's close enough. So we'll see how that plays out.
Well, the DeSantis family, as far as I know, still lives.
Yeah, they still, because afterwards, post game, he's got like a group of about 10 kids backstage meeting everyone. But there's a vacancy now at WFC2, so I'm really curious who's going to get that. Whether it's going to be somebody already within the system, whether they're going to bring in an aspiring young coach. So, we'll keep an eye on that.
I also wonder how much, not necessarily say, but I wonder how much, Axel or whatever might consult with Jesper in that. Might this be someone either Jesper has a connection to, or does Jesper kind of get somewhat of a voice into this decision? So, I think it'll be an interesting appointment.
So I'm sure we'll have a lot more Whitecap stuff to talk about in the next show, with training getting underway this week. I hope to be out there Wednesday and Thursday before they jet off to sunny Spain, Viva España. I'm still toying with going to Marbella, but
you're not going to Marbella. You're not going to Marbella.
I think at this point, probably not, but
No.
I'd love to see who they're playing once it's announced, and then... Because my plan was I still have some stuff I need to sort out in Scotland with my parents' estates. But the weather's horrendous over there just now, so this does not seem the best chance to go there, see some football, sort out what I need to sort out, and then go to Spain. Because I might not be getting to Spain from Scotland at the moment. They've been hit with 2 really, really bad storms. After us talking about, it doesn't snow much in Scotland. Horrendous January so far.
Oh, man.
But we'll see how that goes. But that is it for the Whitecaps chat for this show. We've got one more part to come. We're going to turn our attention to the CPL and Vancouver FC next. And we'll be back with that after this week's C86 track.
Hi, I'm Martin Nash, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
You wanna know what happens inside my happy head?
nothing I can say that hasn't already been said. Sometimes I'm up so high, and sometimes I'm down. I can't remember having my feet on level ground. Think I'm going up again, hear the angels call. Think I'm going up again, catch me when I fall. It's filling up the spaces inside my happy head. It's with me in the morning and at night I take it to bed. Once somebody cut me down and set me free. I spent so long killing time and now it's killing me. Think I'm going up again, hear the angels call. Think I'm going up again, catch me when I fall. Angels call. Think I'm going up again, catch me when I fall. I've got a happy head, just like my angel said. I've got a happy head, just like my angel said. Happy head.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part from Wolverhampton in England, the mighty Lemon Drops with their song Happy Head, which is the second track on the C86 cassette, NME's seminal release from May 1986. And if you weren't with us last week, what we're doing all year, last year, we were paying homage to 30 years of Britpop. This year, we're paying tribute to 40 years of the famous C86 cassette. A wonderful free cassette that came with New Musical Express, the music magazine, the cult music magazine in the UK that ran from the 50s up till the 2010s. Really do miss getting that on a weekly basis. And the C86 cassette was so influential. We're going to be playing it in order for the first 20 or so weeks. That was track 2, as I mentioned, the mighty Lemon Drops. They were a band that was around from 1985 to 1992, released 5 albums. I think I've got their first 3. Didn't know they actually released another 2, so I have to try and dig those out. Their 1986 debut album was also called Happy Head, and you heard the title track from it there. That was their biggest hit album, reaching number 58 in the UK charts, but it also got a lot of airplay over on US college radio, and it features their most well-known song, Like an Angel. So might make that album album of the month later on this year. But yeah, we'll have track 3 from C86 coming up in next week's show. Excellent songs coming up over the next coming couple of weeks. But we're going to get back to the football chat now, and we're going to turn our attention to the CPL, Vancouver FC. They were already back training this week, Zach.
They were, yeah. Earliest ever.
Yes.
What
a wonderful week of weather to pick to get back to training.
Yeah. Some of it was not horrible.
No, it has rained a lot, especially the last couple of days here. So we'll talk about some new additions, player-wise, in this part. We'll also talk a little bit about you. Let's kick things off about you, because there's a big change for you in the Vancouver FC front.
Yeah, we started recording this on January 11th. It's now January 12th.
There was a shorter show.
Yeah, shorter show, but still not
as short as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. No, it was the Fanatics, the Fraser Valley Fanatics AGM. So last year, the Fanatics kind of formalized things in terms of having like paid membership and actual leadership structure and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so this was the second year, the follow up to that, where there was the AGM, and yeah, for me, just kind of a bit of change. I've kind of I've stepped out of the club supporter community in one sense, I guess you will, sort of like retiring. So I didn't stand for any of the board. I didn't stand for a board position. I'm going to be kind of focusing on, and I'm not going to be a member. I'm not signing up for a membership for 2026 because I'm going to be spending my time focusing in on, yeah, doing media stuff. So for VFC, CPL, hopefully more MLS stuff than in previous years, and World Cup stuff and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to do more, both stuff for the podcast, that's like whatever segments or stuff, and then I really want to do more writing stuff. I want to carve out more time to actually do some writing, both like match reporty type stuff, but also more interviews, just some more. Yeah, I want to do more writing. Just a bit of a change. VFC games won't be super hugely different for me, although I probably will be watching them from the press box for the first time, that's my plan, is to watch them from the press box. But the post game won't be any different because for all these 3 seasons, basically, I've been, yeah, at the post game interviews, asking questions, engaging, and doing all that kind of stuff. But a little bit of a different era for me. The new board got voted in. They will meet to assign themselves different positions or whatever. But a really great group of people. It was a really interesting era. Not to talk about this too long, Michael, but it was a really interesting era going from, yeah, being involved in the Whitecaps supporter community for so many years to being a part of fostering a new community for a new club, where went from kind of working with a group of people who kind of came together under one umbrella before to working with a whole bunch of group of people who all were under various umbrellas and kind of bringing them together under a larger tent, if you will, in terms of just, yeah, making it a place and a space that was hopefully welcoming to everyone, no matter kind of whether you were a part of this community or that community or no community or whatever previously. So I got to work with a lot of friends, people I worked with in the past, and then got to work with a lot of new people that I never worked before, but some of them I knew, but I never really done stuff with before, and built a lot of really great friendships and relationships. And even before there was a board, when it was just a group of kind of people doing stuff together, it was a lot of fun. And then even this year as a board, it was a lot of fun. So I have a lot of special memories as an individual, but even more so as a family, whether that just be kind of Kirk and I, or all 4 of us, or my daughter and I. And so my family will still go to games and all that kind of stuff. And we'll still travel probably to a bunch of games and all that kind of stuff. World Cup year.
Well, you've got your 10 trips to Calgary that you have to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun. I hope to do that as much as possible. Like, yeah, I think each of the last 2 years, I think I've gone maybe 3 times to Calgary each year. And if it works out, I hope to do just as much of that, maybe even a little bit more potentially.
Yeah, hopefully the schedule's actually going to be out soon, just so we can get everything all planned. I'd like that out, like the Canadian Championship schedule, the League One schedule.
Yeah, I've heard some things about some of those things might be changing, how the V's Cup might be a little bit different.
Yeah, League One BC is going to be a bit different as well. Can't say too much about that just now.
Yeah. I don't know if this is out there, but I think too, the CPL I think they're going to be doing something similar to League One, where they're at least going to have at least a couple weeks break around the World Cup games, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, all that to say is I've really been blessed to be a part of the supporter community. Really, really thankful for it. Thankful for the people I've met through it and hung out with it through it and created things through it and all that kind of stuff. So if you're listening to this and that's you, thank you so much. And I look forward to what the Fanatics are going to do going forward. Whenever there's new voices into leadership, usually that's a really good thing, and it really helps grow things and brings out new elements and new opportunities. And so I'm really excited to see what what the Fanatics are going to continue to do and the things that they're going to change and do differently or do new or that kind of stuff. So yeah, really, really, really excited about that. And if you're listening to this and you're coming to the Cruz Azul match, and you have tickets in the GA South End, yeah, go to section what is it, section N. Go to section N and hang out with the Fanatics. Like there'll be lots of that day, especially. There's going to be lots of loud chanting and singing in support of the players, because there's going to be a significant Cruz Azul presence in the stadium.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all change in the Eagles' nest. And it's not going to be long now until this season does kick off. February 4th. First game of the year. Crazy. See, there's my reason not to go to Marbella. I can get out to this game locally instead for a lot less money. We're going to talk about some new players, as I mentioned. So on last week's show, we looked at what the current squad was, the players that had come back, those options not picked up. 3 new additions for Vancouver FC this week. 2 of them I know for differing reasons, and we'll get into them just now. It's like defender Maury Donner, who, as I said to you right away, I really hope his new nickname is Kebab. Midfielder Louis Toomey, and midfielder Marcello Polisi, who I think I can say friend of the show. We've known Marcello for many, many years. We'll have a quick look at the 3 of them. Now, the 31-year-old Donner is a right back. He arrives in Langley after spending the last 4 seasons in the USL Championship. He was initially with Monterey Bay for 3 seasons, where he scored 4 goals and got 11 assists in 107 appearances across all competitions. I will have seen him play because I took an interest in Monterey Bay because I love the Monterey, Pacific Grove, Carmel area of California. Been there a couple of times, and I hope to go and see a game there one day as well. From there, he had 2 teams last year. Initially, he was with Detroit City, where he scored 1 goal in his 7 games. And then he made the move to Oakland Roots, where he played 22 games, got 4 goals, added 2 assists. So he's clearly a right back that likes to get forward. You have to feel then that he's the replacement for Kunle Dadaluk.
Yeah, Kunle Dadaluk, the winner of the Austin Ricci Award last year for his performance in the Voyageurs Cup final. I knew this one is actually one of the deals I've known for quite a while now, and which is really encouraged at the replacement for Dadaluk with someone who's so experienced, and someone who will be able to contribute at both ends of the pitch. I think, he's lots of good experience in North American football, and excited to see what he'll bring this side. I think he'll be supported. I think you'll see Paris G maybe kind of be again as a kind of deputy in that spot, as he might fill multiple deputize at multiple spots across the back line, or literally all of them, all 4 of them. But no, really, really excited to see Maury and what he'll bring.
I don't know if this probably isn't getting picked up on the mic just now. It's like 1 a.m. on Monday morning. It is torrential rain outside here right now. I'm just hearing it hitting off the windows and the eaves, and it's like some ambience if this gets picked up. This will see how good this mic is and the sound blocking. So Donner comes to VFC with experience in the CPL. He played 3 years before in the league, 2 with York 9, as they then were in 2019 and 2020. 36 appearances, 1 goal, 4 assists. 1 season with Halifax in 2021. No goals, but 3 assists in 21 appearances. And VFC have signed him to a guaranteed contract through to the end of 2027, so 2-year deal. And it's what we talk about. With young teams, you need the sprinkling of experience, and you're getting it, as you touched on there, Zach. 31 years old, he's bringing this experience, and it's I think, a great addition for the squad in that regard. And let's hope he can kind of bring some offensive play with him as well. So the second player is a player that I've watched on YouTube, but I don't remember too much about him because he only kind of played fleeting minutes. 24-year-old Kiwi midfielder Louis Toomey. He played a couple of years with Wellington Phoenix Reserves and Eastern Suburbs in the New Zealand National League, not to be mixed up with Alan Koch's Western Suburbs from the same league as well. But I've watched a lot of National League games, so I'm sure I've seen him at some point. So he was there from 2019 to 2024. But then he made the jump to the A-League last year, joining New Boys expansion side Auckland City for the 2024-25 season. Only played 8 games for them, did get an assist in his first appearance for them. So I will have seen him play. The name right away rang a bell. I remember the name to me from Auckland.
Yeah.
They released him at the end of the season, and he was looking for his new landing spot. Turns out to be Vancouver. Now, his teammate in Auckland was former Whitecap Francis de Vries. So I do wonder if when the Vancouver interest came in, if he had a chat with Francis as to what life is like in Vancouver. But he seems an interesting addition.
Yeah, the way the midfield is going to play out this year is going to be really interesting, and we'll talk about that more. With
I see him more as a fringe guy, like coming off the bench.
Yeah,
I've got to say.
Yeah, exactly. I feel this is more like a depth signing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what it also happens in terms of other returning players or other new signings, and of course, there's I think, what is it, 3 or 4 youth sport players in the squad. One player, I think I told you this, but one player that he won't be competing with in midfield, from my understanding, from the youth sports level, is Mehdi Susi, who I think is not going to be pursuing. He's going to be focusing on his studies, and I don't think we'll be back, even though VFC holds his youth sports rights.
Yeah, it's a tough. We've spoken about it with the Whitecaps draft picks from this year as well. When you're still in school and you've still got time to go, but you're doing a really, really big top subject, like Zach Ramsey's doing aeronautics, it's hard to then bring yourself out. Eric Lajeunesse studying medicine, wanting to be a doctor, maybe even going down the veterinary route as well. So you want to keep your options open, because we know the CPL doesn't pay much. And if you've got a chance to have a career that's then going to set you up for life for the next 40 years, it's hard to not pursue that. For Toomey, he's also a guy that you're getting that's got international experience. He's played at under 23 level for New Zealand. He played in their Olympic qualifying, scoring against Fiji in the quarterfinals, getting an assist in the finals again against Fiji. Didn't make the Paris 24 squad, but was a reserve for it. So, again, good experience there. They've signed him for the 2026 season with an option for 2027, because it is, you never know how these ones work out. But the A-League, the National League below it as well, which is where, as we've spoken about, your good friend is with Auckland at the moment and thriving down there. So very, very similar leagues, I feel, the CPL and the National League. A-League is obviously a step above CPL as well. So he's bringing that experience. So I'm very excited to see what he can bring. And naturally, I'm very excited to chat to him as well. It's just going to be all Kiwi stuff we talk about. Now, lastly, a midfielder we know very well. I'm going to call him former TSS Rover, Marcello Polizzi. The 28-year-old defensive midfielder has signed for 2026 with an option for 27. It's going to be the third pro club, the third CPL club for Marcello. He's been with Halifax Wanderers for 2 years, in 21 and 22, 36 appearances for them. A couple of years with Valor, 23 and 24, 22 appearances, 1 goal for them. Most recently, another player that was with Detroit City in the USL Championship. Played last season with them, only made 10 appearances, 8 in the league, 2 in the US Open Cup. The sad thing for Marcello is he's been a top talent. He came through the Whitecaps Academy, had really high hopes for him, but he's had 4 years really in the CPL and 5, including Detroit. He's had a career that has been really dogged by injuries. And if he can stay injury-free He's a fantastic addition for VFC. And I think that's why he's just got the 1-year deal. Let's see how it works out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Marcelo here. I've seen him play, not as nearly as much as you have, but I've seen him play a bunch, and I think he brings kind of a steady calmness to the central midfield. I think really good at winning the ball back, and I'm excited to see what he can do. And like you said, yeah, hopefully that none of the injury issues that he's had, whether that's recently or previously, will plague him, and he'll be able to really integrate into the side really well and really quickly. I think he can play. He can potentially be a starter on this team, or be someone again who adds real meaningful depth.
When you think of TSS's legacy, the Polizzi brothers are both so much involved in that. And he was so good. He was a standout player with SFU. Just never hit the heights I hoped for in the CPL. So, I mean, he's still got a lot of years left in him if he can make this work. Still just 28. Defensive midfielders can go on for a while. He's got Vasco Fry's aggression, but more controlled, I feel. But I do wonder if he's going to be a starter or if it's more a guy that's just going to get minutes every now and again, depth off the bench. So, I mean, wish him well. Hope it goes well. So we know that there's more players on the way to Vancouver FC. Just going to splice this bit in just now because just as we're about to publish the podcast, they announced 2 new additions on Monday. Burundi forward Mohamed Amisi and a veteran of the CPL in Tom Field. I mean, you say veteran, he's only 28, but he's a versatile left back, and the Englishman has had a lot of experience back in his own home country before coming to play for Cavalry in the CPL in 2021 and winning a North Star Cup for them as well. Amisi is still young, 25, a dynamic wide player he's described as, and he has had 25 caps for the Burundi national team. So we'll talk a little bit more about them and VFC in next week's episode, because also expecting that we can talk about the management team officially at that time as well. We're wanting to increase after taking, or mostly taken last year as a bit of a hiatus, not doing a lot of VFC stuff for various reasons, both on and off the pitch. But I'm more enthused about the team this year, Zach. So with you doing more media side, we'll get some more interviews done. We'll speak to these guys and we'll just see who comes in the next couple of weeks as well. But that is it now for the football chat. We'll finish though, of course, with this episode's wavelength. And I mentioned last week, up until the World Cup and until it is finished this year, all our wavelength songs outside of March are going to be World Cup themed songs. Now, this is a song, I've got a folder of like football songs that we've not used in wavelength, and I've got a themed one, so I've got World Cup songs in there. This one is in it. It's by a band called The Pathetics. It's a song all about World Cup 2010, and I thought I'll pick that for this episode. Whitecaps getting back to pre-season, Thomas Müller, the 2010 World Cup, as I don't need to tell you, Zach, Thomas Müller's very first World Cup, his very first World Cup goal in that tournament as well. Here's The Pathetics, World Cup 2010.
Portugal, New Zealand, France, Holland, Israel, Turkey, Czech Republic, Greece, Denmark, Egypt, Croatia, Ghana, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia, Chile, Italia, Switzerland or Ireland. Queremos la Copa. South Africa 2010. Scoreboard. This is what you may read. The world is watching and it's singing on the screen. Scoreboard. Second half, countries up. And we know the cup. This is what you may read. The world is watching and it's singing on the screen. Scoreboard. Second half, countries up. And we know the cup.
The Pathetics World Cup 2010, name checking all the teams, and we'll have more World Cup songs all month and months to come, up until the tournament kicks off and beyond this year. Cannot wait. But that is it now for the show, Zach. Before we go, any final thoughts, any shout outs you want to give?
Nothing really huge for me. It was nice to see Jonathan David. I don't know if you saw Jonathan David. We talked about him recently, but with that missed bad Panenka.
Yes, I saw he scored.
Yeah, and it was a horrible one of those gift of a goals where a short pass from a center back towards his keeper that David easily just ran onto and then rounded the keeper and calmly, patiently put in the slotted home with his inside of his left foot.
He got an assist as well just before
Yes,
it, didn't he?
his
Yeah.
assist was very nice.
They'll be taking him out for dinner now.
But around all this thing, there's been this haze of his integration into the side and all this kind of stuff. And it was nice to see in that celebration how much it meant to not just him, but his teammates. And you could tell there was a little bit of like, in that celebration, it felt a little bit like, no, like people's perceptions on the outside of what's happening on the inside of our team is really maybe not a fair reflection. So happy for him and looking forward to him getting going. Speaking of the other David, I don't think I've seen what his side did this weekend, but his side has a big game coming up. Oh, is it this week or next week? Now I'm lost. I think it's next week. He's going to be soon be playing at Bayern Munich in the Champions League away, which is going to be a huge game for him. And it is now official that he will be playing. Unfortunately, he will be playing in front of an empty Sud Curva because after being on probation for a while, the Bayern Ultras and kind of trying to not stick it to UEFA, but tell UEFA they don't care. They at the Sporting Lisbon match, they did a pyro display on purpose to kind of be like, no, this is who we are, this is what we do, which meant that for this game, I think it's just the lower block, but the Sud Curva will be closed, so there'll be no fans in there at all. So it's not going to flow about it. So his ticket is technically not valid for that match. So if he wants to go to that match, he has to get another ticket. But our good friend Flo actually might be only a few hundred or a couple thousand kilometers away from us, because Bayern's second team, it's been announced, the Amatura.
Yes.
So they're playing at it's a closed door.
Yeah,
match.
so it was closed. I come on LAFC's mailing list. That's
But
one of my 3,000 unread emails.
But there will be a very, very small like handful contingent of Bayern people who will be Bayern fans who will be there.
Actually, we could just call Mark and you'd get him in.
Well, no, well, this I mean, they have better connections on the other side. So, so he'll be here for that. And I told him, I said, "Oh, Canada's playing on the 17th." Oh yeah, that game's on the 20th. That game's on the 20th. I said, "Canada's playing on the 17th. You should just go down early." And he against Guatemala, and he said he doesn't want to miss. That's I think Bayern away to Leipzig is that day, so I think he's going to go to that instead. But yeah. If you're listening, actually, people listening to this, it might be too late.
I hope people are listening. Otherwise, there's no point in doing this.
I was going to say, if you're listening to this and you haven't submitted your application for your World Cup tickets, remember January 13th. I forget what the timeline is.
Yes, I put in for tickets for the round of 16, the round of 32 here in Seattle, just to see.
Yeah, so I need to do mine because I got to put some in for here, there, and everywhere.
I also, out of curiosity, went into Marketplace.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, like the minimum ticket price for the Qatar game is 800 and something. That's the lowest one on the resale.
Really?
Yep.
Canada, Qatar.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And that's the Swiss game is like way more. And I had a look at the cheapest price for Scotland, Brazil, which I've got a ticket for that I will probably be selling, and it was thousands. And it's like, this is just insane.
Yeah, it's getting nuts. So yeah, if you can get tickets at a cheap price, then yeah.
So good luck to everyone. You're not going to hear, they're not going to start letting folk know until commencing February 5th. So again, people just can't plan too far ahead. It's so frustrating. But yeah, good luck to everyone if you do get your application in. Not much from me, really. Hope to get a few good chats at Whitecaps training this week, and we'll bring you that in next week's show. Who knows what the coming week will bring? Hopefully the weather eases up. It's meant to be not bad on Wednesday and Thursday, which is the days I hope to get out to Whitecaps training. But yeah, we'll be back with another episode soon. Until then, as always, thanks for listening. Take care, and mon the Caps.
When you're listening in some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? You know, legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mums at home making the tea. Everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football.